Hey brothers, what's going on? JK with Porn Reboot here, on my way back from my run as usual. I hope you guys are having a wonderful start to your day. Today I'm going to be answering a question which was brought up by a brother in our group. And if you haven't joined the group, make sure you use the link in the description to do so. This brother had asked, and I'm paraphrasing, he had joined the group and he had started down the road of rebooting. And our group is on Facebook, and he noticed that one of his friends that he follows on Facebook actually posted up something that was triggering. And then he noticed that it triggered him, but he also noticed that a lot of his other friends were commenting on this particular post. And this made him feel like he was missing out. And so the question he posed to the group was, well, what do I do when my friends post this stuff and I'm triggered, but I feel that I am missing out? And I think this is a great question because a lot of men who are rebooting go through this process as well. And if they don't deal with it appropriately, it can end up causing you to slip. You can see this on Instagram and other forms of social media where you want to participate with the group because it is social. And that's even tougher now in the time of the coronavirus and self-isolation and social distancing. We're really leaning on social media to meet a lot of our social needs. The most important thing to realize is that you spent many years engaging in a behavior which caused you to react to certain material differently than most people do. Not every man goes down the path you go down of binging on pornography or masturbating, and not many men have done it to the point where they experience the same negative symptoms which you do. It's important to acknowledge that. And when you have done something which puts you in a different situation from a lot of other people, there is a price to pay. You're going through the rebooting process. Early in your recovery, it is important to mentally commit to the process. But not just mentally commit to it, you commit to like, these are the things I'm going to do in order for me to rewire my brain. A lot of us do that. We also talk about our goals. Like, these are all the different goals I'm going to accomplish by doing this. So we talk about the things we're going to do. We talk about the goals we're going to accomplish when we're free of our behavior with porn and masturbation. But we rarely take the time to address the sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to give up social media for a certain period of time? Or maybe even permanently? That may be the situation in your case. Are you willing to give up certain friends? Are you willing to give up certain aspects of your life that you considered to be normal? One of the big things that causes men to slip, especially in their first year, is the fact that they cannot accept the fact that their life has to change. Your life has to transform. That means many aspects of your life has to transform. And so many guys get caught up with that. They're like, I wish I could just change this porn and masturbation part of my life, but then go back to all the other things. It is very, very unlikely. You're going to have to change your environment. You're probably going to have to change your community. And you're going to have to change your biochemistry. I'll give you a quick example with biochemistry, then we'll come back to community. So when I talk about biochemistry, you may just be an unhealthy person. You may be a person who eats a lot of junk food. You may be a person who has a sugar addiction. You may be a person who has an addiction to social media and all the dopamine it releases. And so changing your biochemistry in these cases would involve letting go of these things, maybe going on a dopamine fast, maybe changing the biochemistry of your body by not consuming too much sugar and not being dependent on that. It may involve that you stop viewing Netflix for hours and hours every night. It may involve you setting up very strong boundaries with things like video games. So that's biochemistry. When it comes to your community, again, it's not just who you hang out with, but it's also who you hang out with online. So when it comes to who you hang out with, you may have to take a look at your friends, right? Do you have friends who have no idea that porn addiction exists? That's not a bad thing, they are your friends. Those are the things that's the way they live. But unfortunately, you're a friend of theirs who deals with this. And a lot of men are so attached to their friends that they're unwilling to let go of certain friendships or create a distance between certain friends who may often say things that are triggering them, right? You may be part of a WhatsApp group where they once in a while send triggering material. That's one of the things you're going to have to change in the first year of rebooting. Very important. Communities online. For those of you who are in our Facebook group, I often recommend that you use a new Facebook page, because what it does is that it separates you from all the triggering things on Facebook. When you have a new Facebook account, it's much easier to just focus on the one thing you're there for, the rebooting group. When you come in and you have so many other things going on, the truth is, yeah, we have a good group. We try to keep it interesting, but I'm not trying to compete with other groups, right? Entertainment is always better, right? Even with YouTube videos, people want entertaining content. But the truth is, when you're dealing with something that has a huge impact on people's lives, you can only use entertainment to attract people. But it's a whole different story to use entertainment to help people end a compulsive behavior. And so when you're on Facebook and you're trying to do something serious in a group, and you have all these news articles and pieces of entertainment and other forms of media on Facebook, which is just popping up to distract you, you're quite naturally going to focus on that. So to the brother who asked this question, so important to consider distancing yourself from certain people. Now, the beautiful thing about Facebook is that it has the option for you to snooze. I believe it's snooze or mute or no longer see certain people's notifications. You can just do that until the only things you see are wholesome things, right? So if you're a man who you're at a stage in your life where you're building a family, you're married, you got kids, well, maybe the only thing you need to see socially is your friends who have kids, right? Maybe that's what you want to be seeing. Maybe you don't need to be getting notifications from your boy who's still hitting the club, right? From your boy who's still out there dating, and that makes you feel like you're missing out, right? Or your boy who, is married, but, he's doing a lot of stuff on the side, right? You don't need to see that. Set boundaries, but most importantly, brothers, when it comes to missing out, understand that the reboot process, at least with the porn reboot system, right? There are a lot of guys out there who are like, I was in a porn reboot forum. You weren't in a porn reboot forum. There's no porn reboot forum. There's everything else, and there's porn reboot. The porn reboot system, which is what we do here. It's a very, very specific system. Although I'm flattered that guys have started referring to the process of ending porn as a porn reboot. That's good. Just make sure you're using the system. But at least in our system, it is holistic and it applies to every aspect of your life. So all those things that you find yourself missing out, we're going to help you develop coping skills and to actually change your lifestyle into a lifestyle where you don't find yourself missing out on all the things from your past which were not serving you. We also help you to slowly start identifying all those different things. So for this brother, he's actually in one of our groups and one of our coaching programs. I just felt this was a good question to answer broadly. Brother, this is also going to be covered in the later modules. How to build a reboot capital, how to build a reboot lifestyle. I enjoy my life now way more than I enjoyed it before. In the past, there were short moments of enjoyment that were just very intense. It was like concentrated dopamine, just concentrated fun, followed by weeks and weeks and weeks of pain and living in survival mode. Now my life is a lot more balanced, but it's balanced with fun in there. So I rarely have days where I feel that, oh my God, today is just such a shitty day and I'm suffering and there's so much that I'm worrying about today. Those days just rarely happen. And that's part of living a reboot lifestyle. Understand that it doesn't matter what your age is. You have more years ahead of you, assuming nothing happens to you, than you have up to this point. So if you're 40 years old and you decide that you're going to be healthy, eat clean, take care of yourself, it's likely you'll live another 50, 60 years, especially with the new technologies we have, right? If you're 20 years old now, you have many more years ahead of you. And it's also important to start thinking of those years. Don't just rewire your brain for the fun you want to have now. Many of you are in your 30s and 40s and you all just want to rewire your brain because you want to enjoy your life right now. That's okay. And the difference between reboot coaching and things like therapy is therapy deals with your past. Reboot coaching focuses on your present, but also with an eye towards your future. So I know you're focusing on the present. That's all good. That's well and good. You want to control your behavior in the moment and all the things, the aspects of your life that this is negatively impacting. But also start looking at your future and the type of man you want to be. And when you think of all those things, brother, that you say, oh, I'm missing out on this, I'm missing out on this. Are you going to be missing out on those things in those many years that you have ahead of you? If you assume that you have 40 or 50 years ahead of you, are these things you're going to be missing out on? And what is important to you right now? All right. So brothers, in conclusion, make peace with the sacrifice that you have to make when it comes to rebooting. Realize that the porn reboot system is a holistic system, and we are going to address every aspect of your life. Make a very strong decision once you have decided on your sacrifice that you're going to set up boundaries around these individuals. My friends have changed. Many of my clients, as they went through the reboot process, they changed up many of their friends. Good guys, right? Good guys, but if they were hanging out with this guy every week, they just realized they couldn't because he was too old to change, right? He was the guy who always wanted to talk about chicks, always wanted to talk about women, always wanted to talk about getting laid, always, checking out women as they walk past, always talking about all the Tinder dates he was going on. And that's all good. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just the stage of life he was in. And you may be in that stage of life, but maybe you can't handle it with that much intensity. So you may have to create that boundaries. I hope that made sense, brothers. I got to get started on my work day. I'm JK, your brother in the struggle. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. And brothers, whenever you're ready, there are a few ways I can help you end your out of control behavior. As mentioned earlier, our Facebook group is a great place for you to get accountability partners, be around a serious community of men who will help you end this behavior. Another way is you can watch my free training. It's called 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men. I believe that's done every Thursday, and you can join it using the link in the description below. Also, you can download a free copy of my ebook, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men. And this is if you're just curious about the porn reboot system and you just like a basic, really short outline of how it works. The ebook is a very short book, very easy to read. It will get you there. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you later in the week. Take care.